Chiefs fans, I've got an idea. Been cooking up a little trade, thinking about how the Chiefs can get better. Trade deadline on the horizon. So we're going to talk about my idea today, and I hope Brett Veach is watching because I really think this could change the Chiefs' season. But we're also going to talk about some news coming out of Monday Night Football, some bad injury news that does relate to the Chiefs season, does affect us in some ways. And then, of course, we're going to get into my trade idea. This one is a big one that I think could really help us out. But first, let's talk about that Monday night injury news. If you missed it on Monday night, Tyreek Hill suffers a gruesome knee injury on Monday Night Football against the New York Jets. He's trying to make a catch, and he collides and ultimately goes down, leaves on a cart, and goes straight to the hospital. And it has been since confirmed that he is dealing with a dislocated knee that will end his season. Absolutely devastating injury there. And I hate to speculate, but he did have a clean surgery from what I heard, but there's a chance that this could be a career ender as well for Tyreek Hill. It's at least a career-altering injury. These ones are tough to come back from. I always think back to Marcus Lattimore at South Carolina. This is a relatively similar injury to what he dealt with during that period, and that did end his career in football. So obviously, I hate to think straight to this, but this does take Tyreek Hill off the trade radar for us. It's something we've talked about in the past is could the Chiefs make a move for Tyreek Hill? That's obviously no longer going to be in play, but I also think as fans of the Kansas City Chiefs, as a Tyreek Hill community, obviously he gave so much to this fan base. I think we need to send some good vibes his way. Forever a Chief. Let's spam 10 in the comments to send some good vibes to Tyreek Hill. Hope his recovery goes well and hope he can get back out on the field as soon as humanly possible. Obviously, we're hoping for the best for him just from a human perspective. But let's get into my trade idea. And before we do that, I want to talk about why I'm thinking about this trade idea, why we need to make a move specifically in the running back department, because our running backs this season have just not been good enough. It's something we've hit on over and over again in this show, the lack of production we've gotten from the run game outside of Patrick Mahomes. And it's starting to get really bad, guys. Look at these stats, 75 carries for 266 yards. That's just 3.5 yards per carry. And we have just the longest carry we've gotten from a running back this season is just 12 yards. Let's look at some depressing statistics here, guys. Just 4 carries on the season for 10 plus. That's from our running back group alone. If you look at the non-running backs, anybody else, Patrick Mahomes, Xavier Worthy, Nico Remigio, who have just 26 attempts combined between them. Remember, our 3 running backs have 75. Those guys have 9 carries of 10 plus or more. That's very depressing. We have just 8 missed tackles forced all season. Bijan Robinson on his own has 24. That's 3 times our entire team at running back. We have 0 breakaway runs all season long. We are one of just 2 teams in the entire NFL without a 15-plus yard run from a running back this season. The other one is the Cincinnati Bengals. And if you watch their offense on the Monday Night Football doubleheader, I, A, feel bad for you, but B, you know that they're absolutely horrible. We should not be in a statistical category with them. We are a much better football team. And it just gets worse. Look at our leading rushers by game. Week 1, Patrick Mahomes, 6 carries for 57. Week 2, Patrick Mahomes, 7 carries for 66. Week 3, the only week this season in which our leading rusher has been a running back, Isaiah Pacheco gets 10 carries for 45 yards. Week 4, his first game back from a dislocated shoulder, still dealing with injuries and pain. Xavier Worthy outrushes our entire running back room on 2 carries. 2 carries, guys! And he outran the entire running back room. Kareem Hunt had 13, and he produced 35 yards. Our running backs against the Ravens and all season long have just been unacceptably poor. We need more production from this group. And I think it was highlighted in week 4 because remember, we talked over and over about how injured this Ravens defensive group was, and it got worse during this game. They lost their best middle linebacker, somebody who's great in run defense, Roquan Smith. They lost 2 corners who obviously are not directly involved in run support, but definitely play a role. And we still were terrible. Almost their entire starting defensive line in the interior is out, and we averaged 3.2 yards per carry and mustered just a 12-yard run. It's not good enough. It simply is not. We have to make a move to get better in this department. It's going to hamper our ability to compete down the line. And in my opinion, there's a player that could fix this problem. There's a player that we could trade for that could solve the issue in no time. And we're going to get into him in just 1 second. But first, I got to give a shout out to our sponsor at Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks where it's good to be right. Prize Picks is the only app that offers stacks, meaning you can pick the same player up to 3 times in the same lineup. Want to pick more on Josh Allen's passing yards, rushing yards, and touchdowns? Now you can pick all of them in the same lineup only on Prize Picks. I've got my Prize Picks built for this week. I did not go with the stack route, but I did go all in on Thursday Night Football. We've got Brock Purdy. We need to get at least 1 passing touchdown from him. We need a touchdown from Devontae Adams, 2 touchdowns from Matthew Stafford, and another 100-yard game from Puka Nacua, who has been fantastic this season. Really great year for him. Tail me on this lineup, fade me on this lineup, whatever you're going to do it at Prize Picks because Prize Picks puts their members first, so all withdrawals are fast, safe, and secure. They offer Venmo, Apple Pay, MasterCard, and more for quick and easy deposits into your account this football season. And download the Prize Picks app today and use code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code CLNS to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. Let's get back into our discussion of the player I think could really change Kansas City's season. And his name is Breece Hall, running back for the New York Jets. And you see his stats on screen for this season. He's great, guys. 52 carries for 238 yards, 4.5 yards per carry. 11.5% of his carries, by the way, have gone for more than 15 yards. This guy is a breakaway machine. Think about that in comparison to our current running back room. Not a single one of our 3 running backs on 75 attempts has managed a single breakaway run. That's considered one of more than 15 plus yards. And he's been this good behind one of the worst offensive lines in the NFL. I mean, they're getting a little bit better this year. This has been one of their better seasons, but the Jets are not good up front. That's been one of their biggest issues over the last couple seasons. And Breece Hall has continued to be effective. He makes people miss after the first. He averages yards after contact. He's a really great running back that I feel like could add a lot of explosiveness to our backfield. And I also like what he can do as a receiving threat. I feel like Patrick Mahomes has never played, at least since the prime of Kareem Hunt, with a running back like Breece Hall. And even Kareem Hunt didn't offer you that kind of versatility as a receiver. What Breece can do with the ball in his hands in the receiving game, the routes that he can run out of the backfield, I feel like Andy Reid would have a ton of fun with him. And I feel like the Jets would be smart to move off of him. I was talking to our Jets host here, Patrick Seatman, today, and he told me he could definitely see the Jets making a trade. Obviously, Braylon Allen did deal with an injury on Monday Night Football. We'll get into that in a little bit, so maybe that does hamper the odds, but they've got other young running backs in the room. Breece Hall's contract is only a couple years left on that deal. They could look to move off of him and get an asset in return before that deal expires. So let's talk about my trade idea here. Obviously, we're getting Breece Hall in return, but I think we could send them a 4th-round pick, and that would be where I would start the negotiations. Obviously, if you can get this deal done at a 4th-round pick, that is 100% worth doing, in my opinion. But I think there's a chance you might have to, what I'll say, call Godfather the Jets here a little bit, because there's pros and cons to this move for New York. Let's get into them here. Number one, they're a bad football team. They're not good right now. Moving off of Breece Hall would allow you to kind of fully embrace the rebuild, add more assets for next year in the draft. This team obviously off to a rough start in the first year of Aaron Glenn's tenure. They're 0-4 right now. They've lost to the Steelers in a game that was pretty competitive, but they got blasted by the Buffalo Bills, lost close to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and then lost again on Monday Night Football in a game that wasn't as close as the score would have you believe. So I think the Jets could look to shop Breece Hall before the deadline if they continue to lose games, if they continue to go down this path where it's just very clear that they're not going to compete for the postseason and this season's ultimately a wash. It would be smart to move off of Breece Hall, because are you really going to pay a running back like him when you already have guys like Braylon Allen and Isaiah Davis in that room? But obviously, The other end of this, why they wouldn't consider doing it just yet, would be the injury to Braylon Allen. This would just leave you a little thin in the running back room. If you missed it on Monday night, Tyreek Hill was not the only player who left with a pretty gruesome knee injury. Braylon Allen got one as well, reaching out for the goal line on a play he ultimately fumbled on. This was a pretty critical play in this game, actually. He ends up exiting with an MCL injury, and it's been confirmed that he's going to head to the short-term IR for the New York Jets. So unlikely this move gets made just yet, but this is something to monitor, in my opinion, over the next couple weeks as the Chiefs continue to progress down the line. If the running game doesn't pick up, which at this point, unless Brashard Smith starts to break out, which we did see some promise from him last week, that's the one thing I haven't really talked about is Brashard Smith. I think he is the most promising thing we have going on there. But if he can't take over as the lead back, and again, this is his first year transitioning from the receiver position. Obviously, that's what he played at SMU. First year playing running back. I think he's doing well. But is he ready to take over as a 3-down back? I'm not 100% sure, but I am 100% sure that Breece Hall is. So I'm going to ask you guys, would you make this trade? Would you send this offer to the New York Jets? Let me know in the comments. Type yes or type no. And that's going to do it for this one, guys. We appreciate you hanging out with us. And I would love if you subscribed. If you enjoyed today's video, if you made it to this point, head down there and subscribe. And we'll see you in the next one.